My name is Sarah, and for a long time I was the villain in my own home, a truth that still chills me to the bone. I wasn't just a difficult partner. I was a storm of anger and control, and my husband Mark was caught in the eye of it. Every day, my words were weapons, honed to cut deep and leave scars no one else could see. I criticized everything he did, from how he dressed to how he spoke, believing I was perfecting him. In my twisted logic, I thought my harshness was a form of love, a way to push him to be better. It started subtly, with little digs and passive-aggressive comments that chipped away at his confidence. I'd roll my eyes when he shared an idea or scoff at his dreams, making him feel small and foolish. Over time, this escalated into full-blown verbal onslaughts, where I'd scream and belittle him for the smallest perceived slight. The house, once a sanctuary, became a minefield where he had to tread carefully around my moods. I held his happiness hostage, and he paid the ransom with his silence and his spirit. I controlled our finances with an iron fist, questioning every single purchase he made. He had to justify buying a coffee or a new shirt, while I spent freely without a second thought. This wasn't about budgeting. It was about power, about making him dependent on me for even the smallest things. I isolated him from his friends, complaining they were a bad influence or creating drama whenever he planned to see them. Soon, his world shrank until it contained only me and my suffocating presence. My behavior was a reflection of my own deep-seated insecurities, though I couldn't see it then. I felt powerless in my own life, so I exerted absolute power over his. His gentle nature and unwavering kindness became a canvas for my own frustrations and fears. I mistook his patience for weakness and his love for an endless resource I could drain without consequence. Looking back, I see a woman terrified of being abandoned, who chose to build a cage around her husband instead of building a healthy partnership. The unexpected wasn't a single dramatic event, but a slow, quiet dawn that I almost missed. It began one evening when I was yelling at him about something trivial, some chore left undone. Instead of shrinking away as he usually did, Mark just looked at me, his eyes filled not with fear, but with an exhaustion so profound it startled me into silence. In that gaze, I saw the ghost of the man I fell in love with, and for the first time, I felt a crack in my self-righteous anger. That night, I couldn't sleep. His quiet sorrow echoed louder than my shouting ever had. I started replaying years of our life together, but this time I saw it through his eyes. I remembered the birthdays I'd ruined with my moods, the friends he'd lost because of my jealousy, and the dreams he'd shelved to appease me. The realization hit me like a physical blow. I wasn't just a bad wife. I was an abuser, and the person I was hurting most was the one who loved me unconditionally. Shame was a tidal wave, pulling me under. I wanted to run, to hide, to blame him for not standing up to me sooner, but I knew the fault was mine alone. The next morning, I found him on the porch, staring at the sunrise. I sat down, the words catching in my throat. With tears streaming down my face, I finally whispered the two words he had deserved to hear for years. "I'm sorry." It felt like a pathetic offering for the mountains of pain I had caused. He didn't respond immediately. He just continued to watch the sky, and I braced myself for the anger and resentment I so richly deserved. Instead, after a long silence, he turned to me and said, "I know you are, Sarah, but what happens now?" His question wasn't an accusation. It was an invitation, a sliver of hope that I clung to with everything I had. It was the moment I knew our story wasn't over, but it had to change completely if it was to continue. That conversation was the first real, honest talk we'd had in years. I didn't make excuses. I owned every cruel word, every controlling action, every moment I had made him feel less than. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, laying my toxic behavior bare. He listened patiently, his expression a mixture of pain and cautious relief. He confessed how my abuse had hollowed him out, how he felt trapped and invisible in his own home. We made a pact that day. I would start individual therapy immediately to understand and dismantle the roots of my abusive behavior. We also agreed to attend couples counseling to learn how to communicate and rebuild our relationship on a foundation of respect, not fear. It was a terrifying step into the unknown. There was no guarantee that we could fix the damage I had caused, but for the first time, we were a team facing a problem together, instead of me being the problem. Therapy was brutal. I had to confront the ugly parts of myself I had kept hidden, even from myself. I learned that my need for control stemmed from a deep-seated fear of not being good enough. I had projected all my self-loathing onto Mark. It wasn't an excuse, but it was an explanation, a starting point for change. Every session was emotionally draining, but with each one, I felt a layer of my old, toxic self peeling away, revealing someone who was capable of empathy and genuine love. Slowly, painstakingly, we began to heal. The change wasn't overnight. There were days I slipped into old habits of criticism, but now Mark had the strength and the language to call me out on it. "Sarah, that's the old way of talking. Let's try again," he would say gently but firmly. And I would stop, take a breath, and rephrase my words with the respect he deserved. Each time felt like a small victory against the monster I used to be. We rediscovered the simple joys we had lost. We started taking walks again, holding hands without the tension that had once defined our every touch. I began to encourage his hobbies instead of mocking them. Seeing the genuine smile return to his face, a smile I had almost extinguished, became my greatest motivation. I learned to listen, truly listen, when he spoke, valuing his thoughts and celebrating his successes as our own. The financial control was one of the first things we dismantled. We set up a joint account with clear, mutually agreed-upon rules, and we each had our own personal accounts to spend as we wished, no questions asked. Giving up that power felt like losing a limb at first, but it was replaced by something far more valuable: trust. The freedom and respect it gave him were visible in the way he carried himself, with a lightness I hadn't seen in years. His friends started coming back into our lives. I had to personally apologize to many of them for my past behavior, which was humbling and necessary. They were cautious at first, protective of Mark, as they should have been. But as they saw the genuine change in both me and our dynamic, they slowly welcomed me back. Our home, once a place of tension, began to fill with laughter and friendship again. I want to be clear, this isn't a simple fairy tale ending. The scars from my abuse still exist. There are days when the memory of my past behavior fills me with a profound sense of shame. Mark has moments where he flinches, expecting a harsh word that no longer comes. Healing is not a linear path, and our journey is a continuous process of mindfulness, communication, and recommitment to each other every single day. What happened was not a miracle, but a choice. I chose to face my darkness, and Mark chose to see if the woman he fell in love with was still there underneath it all. He gave me the grace I didn't deserve, but one I am eternally grateful for. His capacity for forgiveness is a testament to his incredible strength, not my worthiness of it. He didn't save me. He gave me the space to save myself. My confession is not for pity. I share this story as a warning and as a glimmer of hope. To anyone who recognizes their own partner in my description of Mark, please know that you do not have to endure it. Your well-being matters. And to anyone who sees a reflection of their own abusive behavior in my past, I beg you to seek help. Change is possible, but it must start with you taking radical, painful, and honest responsibility. Today, my relationship with Mark is stronger and more authentic than I ever thought possible. It's built not on control, but on a deep, mutual respect. I no longer try to perfect him. Instead, I celebrate him for exactly who he is. My love is no longer a cage, it's a safe harbor. It's a quiet, supportive presence that I work to earn every single day. The unexpected thing that happened wasn't that Mark left me, which he had every right to do. The unexpected thing was that he stayed and showed me what true strength looks like. And in doing so, he gave me the chance to become a person worthy of his love. Our story is not one of a bad wife who got away with it. It's a story of redemption, and it's a story that is still being written, one respectful, loving day at a time. Thank you for listening. If you found this story meaningful, please consider liking and subscribing for more real-life stories.